We are going to close with a little look into the future. And how many of you have used any form of AI lately? All right, then you're going to love this, because this is the last story that actually is about Ukraine, that you're going to get a look into the future of how AI is being used in development and diplomacy. And I'm just going to do two quick, what I call Liz Talks, not our TED Talks. So you're just going to be two people. They're 5 minutes each, and I think you're going to love it. So this is going to look at how technology is being used in development and diplomacy, because we want to end looking really into the future. Frankly, it's already here. It's already here. And this is a story. Our example is going to be on Ukraine. So I'm going to interview two individuals up here. And the first is from the coolest team at USAID that is using technology and innovation in global development. So Chris Burns, who is the Chief Digital Officer at USAID, come on down. Everybody welcome him. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Liz.
Welcome. Good to see you. All right, so the example we're going to show you is how technology is transforming people's life in Ukraine through the DIA platform. How many of you have seen it so far? All right, only one. We've got something to teach them, Chris. All right, in short, DIA is this transformational, transparent app, an app on your phone, the ambassador knows all about it, that is allowing Ukraine citizens to engage with their government. And it's everything from how way better than what we have here in the United States, frankly. Everything from how you can get a driver's license, a birth certificate, to literally protecting yourself from the war. So they gave us a little video. We're going to show it, and then Chris and I are going to talk.
For decades, Ukrainians had to deal with corruption that permeated state institutions. DIA set out to fix that. In 2 first years, DIA saved 16.3 billion of state budget and 20.5 thousand man-hours of time. In social and business spheres, we synchronized different systems and automated their work, thus making corrupt practices impossible. Introduced the Unified Information System for the social sphere, which is expected to save more than 30 billion of Ukrainian hryvnias. We digitized e-sick leave to lower doctors' workload and prevent forging this kind of documents. Construction used to be one of the most corrupt areas. We reformed it by building new construction register, which allows to keep track of all the actions and makes every move transparent. Can we do more? We are already doing.
All right, that just gives you a little taste. Come on back here, Chris. All right, USAID, Chris, actually started investing in this with a little investment way before the war in 2016 to actually handle anti-corruption. And so my question is, what's happening? How is USAID transforming this digital platform to really change the life of the Ukrainian citizen?
Indeed. Thanks, Liz, and good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful, after hearing Ambassador Markarova speak, to talk a little bit about this. And, you know, it's amazing when you look at what President Zelensky said when he wanted to put the state in a smartphone and had the vision for that. And when you look at Vice Prime Minister Fedorov and his laser focus on executing on that vision, it says so much for the power of political will, and it says so much for the recognition at the topmost part of the Ukrainian government of the power of digital technology in driving everything we do today. So yes, it's true, USAID, as well as UKAID, Eurasia Foundation, we've all been supporting the Ukrainians to build out DIA so that government can be closer to the people, but it is actually way beyond that. They've developed 120 services. Liz, you mentioned a few of them. They've developed more because DIA predated the Russian invasion, so they developed more applications for wartime, like registering internally displaced people, or if you have property damage, you can actually load that on the app and get compensation for that. And they're in fact so much clamoring for the services that you have every ministry within Ukraine lining up to get their products and services on the app. So certainly for the now, there's enough going on, but we have to look to the future, as Liz said. And so we're already thinking about reconstruction and the role that digital technologies play in that. We're thinking about, of course, private sector investment and how much Ukraine is going to need of that, cross-border trade, and just broader trade facilitation, the role that digital technology is going to play in that. The ambassador talked a little bit about democracy strengthening, which is something we're going to continue and recognize that digital has a role. And I think the last point on there is you look at Ukraine, and historically, in the last 20 years, it has an incredibly powerful IT sector, a highly digitally literate population that is clamoring for jobs in the face of war. As we move to reconstruction, that focus on jobs is going to be of great attention as well, and digital is going to play a big piece there.
So what's amazing is, again, so far ahead of what we can do. Can you imagine doing all of this stuff from our government on an app? But what amazes me is it's an open source. And you want to go global. You want to go to other countries. In fact, I think some other countries are already picking it up. Who's using it? Where are you going with it?
Yes, it is almost open source.
Almost open source.
The
Okay.
Ministry of
Correct me.
Digital Transformation has the goal of making it open source
Okay.
by the end of this calendar year. And right now, Ukraine is the gold standard when it comes to digital public infrastructure. Estonia used to be. Now Estonia is saying, wow, we've got to catch up on those Ukrainians. But what I mean about digital public infrastructure is what is the underpinning digital layers that is going to foster a DIA-like app to flourish. So it's digital identity, digital payments, data interoperability, and cybersecurity. And what we want to do is go to our partner countries to say, look, you have embraced digital transformation. How about we accelerate that transformation journey by taking the successes of Ukraine, not just the DIA app itself, but everything that has underpinned it, and working with partner countries to understand the state of their digital ecosystem. What land registries do they have in place? What laws are on the books or need to be put on the books so that DIA can flourish there, or a DIA-like service? So we are going to partner with a couple countries. We are going to start
Estonia
with
is
Zambia,
one. Zambia, okay.
Colombia, Kosovo. We're going to work with Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation to understand what that looks like. We're going to go into the countries, do a number of assessments, and then figure out where we're going to go from there. We're trying to find 3 or 4 more countries as well.
So what's amazing about this that I love is this is how you leverage our USAID dollars to do innovative work. And it's not just happening on our phones and our app. You're trying to use this technology in all kinds of different ways, in health, in food. Give us one more example to leave us wanting more, and then I want you to tell me what website where we can find more of this. But give us an example of how technology and innovation is being used in other sectors.
Or all sectors, may I?
All sectors. I love it. Even better.
We are in the business of empowering people, right, in development. That means lending them agency, giving them voice, making sure development is inclusive. And I can think of no other tool for doing that well than digital technology. No, it's no magic wand, and we're not going to talk about the risks that are very real. But if you think about it, it has this opportunity to be this great equalizer if it's available to everyone, and if it's done in a way that is safe and inclusive, ethical, and responsible. And that is our remit, to make sure that we are doing that across all sectors. So digital technology is really this through line, whether it's to address climate change, to continue to ensure democratic strengthening, to drive greater food security, whatever it is that USAID, and by extension the broader development community does, this is the through line that I think we have an incredible opportunity here to make sure that we are empowering every single person, particularly underserved communities, in everything we do.
Where do we find out more?
So many places. Let's start with USAID.gov.
Okay.
Our technology portfolio is there. It goes way beyond our amazing team. But for those of you who didn't see the DIA in DC event 2 weeks ago with our administrator, there's a lot of information on the website there that goes through all the keynotes, more detail of what DIA is about, and what we're doing broadly to enhance digital development around the world.
Let's thank Chris Burns, and how about that great work that you're doing?
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks so
Good to
much.
see you.
Great to see you. All right, that's the future. Now I want to continue one more Liz talk, and for this one, I'm not just calling a friend, that old call a friend, I'm calling an expert, and please welcome Karan Bhatia, who is the Vice President of Government Affairs and Public Policy at Google, and a dear friend, and happens to be a member of the USGLC board. Hi, my friend.
Thank you.
Usually he's flying all over the world, so this was
great.
not easy to find like a date that I could get him on here. All right, so I'm going to throw you on one.
Yeah.
So everybody's heard of ChatGPT, but you need to now know of Google Bard. So I did a little Google Bard myself.
All right. Oh my goodness. Okay.
And I asked this question: What will Karan Bhatia say if I ask him if AI is going to end humanity?
God, I hope this is.
Do you want to take a guess?
It's something insightful. How about
It was
Yeah?
so cool.
Okay,
Do you
all
want to
right, let's
guess
see.
what
I
it
don't.
said? Okay, this
yeah.
is really cool. So here's what it said. Let's see. It said Karan Bhatia would likely say that AI is not going to end humanity, because you would say that. He would point to the many ways in which AI is already being used to improve people's lives. Bhatia would likely say that AI is a powerful tool that has the potential to do great good or great harm.
Thank you all.
Isn't that right? That's what we're going to talk
It's
about.
fantastic.
Is that
That's
so
great.
cool?
So-
How cool is that? All right.
Does your homework for you.
Okay, but what's cool is we're going to talk because we had breakfast. This is how I came up with the ideas. We had breakfast, and he started telling me the cool things that Google is doing in the development and diplomacy state. And so here's my first question: is you're doing amazing things, and you start talking to me about how AI can do and be a forward-looking movement in global solutions. And you said recently, AI can help us reach our climate goals, build sustainable growth, maintain global competitiveness. I know Google's AI is already providing critical flood forecasts in more than 20 countries. Give us some examples of things you're doing that are doing good in the world through AI.
I mean, Liz, look, everybody's attention has been caught in the last 3 or 4 months by these, fantastic generative AI tools that have sort of emerged onto the scene. So ChatGPT, Bard, and so forth. The reality, though, is when you think about the potential of artificial intelligence, certainly the ability to access search in different ways, which is effectively what these tools are allowing, is important. But the power that AI really is going to bring, I think, is going to be in meeting challenges like the ones you're talking about: food security, pandemics, climate change. And we are already seeing those being deployed. So flood forecasting example, people don't focus on it, but millions of people lose their lives each year to unanticipated floods, riverine floods. There is the ability to forecast where floods are going to happen, where in these rivers they're going to happen, but they take the processing of massive amounts of data. We have the data, and now with the ability of artificial intelligence partnering with not just 20, 80 countries around the world now, including
80 now.
80, USAID, 25 of which are in sub-Saharan Africa. We are now able to provide governments ahead of time, and utilizing the Android phone system, which is pretty much ubiquitous there, get information to people that a flood is coming as early as a week in advance. So not only can they escape, they can harvest their crops and make, try and save themselves in the process. So one example. The other one I'll just really quickly mention, Translate, Google Translate. I don't know how many of you have used Google Translate. Wonderful. I love it. It's my favorite Google app. My son last year worked on the border between Ukraine and Poland, helping refugees come across the border, spoke neither Polish nor Ukrainian, but managed to get the job done utilizing Google Translate, running backwards and forwards. But Google Translate was innovated back in 2006. It was an incredible, painstaking process of working through translation. We were adding a few languages at a time. Starting in 2016, we started building in large language models and artificial intelligence. Today, last year alone, we added 32 new languages. We are up to 133, and we are going to have 1,000 languages on Google Translate by virtue of AI. Last year alone, take a language you haven't taught, Assamese in northeast India. 25 million people who speak Assamese who are now going to have access to the world of information that they've never had before. It's just an extraordinary story. So just 2 examples replicated 100 times over.
I don't know if you guys, I could talk to Karan all day about this, but but let me ask you the flip side, because in my AI Bard when I Googled, it said harm. So you've been really out front, and I've seen you talk about this, about being responsible about AI. And you're not the only player. There's other companies out there. There's other countries out there.
Absolutely.
Talk about just a couple of the threats and the risks and what we need to be doing about them.
Look, it's an incredible, powerful technology, but like most powerful technologies in the past, think nuclear energy, others, there are risks inherent in it. And in the case of AI, you're thinking about things like misinformation and disinformation. Some of you will have seen discussions of deep fakes, for instance, that can be enabled by artificial intelligence, cybersecurity risks. So there are a plethora of risks out there. it does require regulation, and it requires companies or players in this space to be responsible actors themselves. So when we talk about AI, we talk about three things. Bold, we've got to be ambitious. We've got to take on these big challenges and being innovating for them. But two, responsible. We have to be setting guardrails upon ourselves. And number three, together. We need to be doing it in partnership with all of the relevant stakeholders. This isn't a world anymore where some small handful of countries or companies are going to be able to set the rules for the world. It's going to have to be done in a very different kind of way than international regimes have been done in the past. And so that's what we're thinking a lot about right now.
So we're talking about, as you just said, profound technology impact on the world. You come back here, I'll invite you 2 years from now to come back here. How will our world of development and diplomacy maybe change, hopefully, as you said, for the better, but give us a little bit prediction of the world of the future in development and diplomacy because of AI.
So a couple of things. First of all, I actually think the implementation of development assistance through our aid agencies and international organizations is going to be helped through artificial intelligence, simply through the efficiencies that are going to be generated. You can't, but that is going to be true across all industries, across all sectors. But I do think there is going to be improvements there. But I think the second thing really is, I have long believed that the core competitive advantage of the United States and the West in development assistance is technology, right?
Yeah.
It is the ability to take these innovative technologies, apply them to challenges that the developing world faces, and be able to help them leapfrog into that next stage. This technology is going to do that times 100. So I could not be more enthused for what I think it is going to do, provided that we can get those guardrails right. And that's really where we're going to need to be spending a fair amount of time in diplomacy,
and figuring
figuring that out and figuring out how we do that.
All right, you just got a little glimpse of what is here, but also the future, which is why we wanted to close. Karan, thank you.
Thank you, Les.
Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you.